Have you ever stopped to ponder, who am I? This question, seemingly simple, is a gateway into the enigma of self, a riddle that has puzzled philosophers for millennia. It's a journey that delves into the very essence of our being, a quest that seeks to unravel the mysteries of existence. The concept of the self is not as straightforward as it might initially seem. Is it something tangible, a distinct entity separate from the world around us? Or is it more elusive, more abstract, a mere construct of the mind? Throughout history, philosophers have grappled with this conundrum, each offering their own unique perspective. In the grand halls of ancient Greece, philosophers like Socrates and Plato argued that the self was immortal and unchanging, a divine spark within the mortal coil. Centuries later, in the hushed libraries of the Enlightenment, thinkers like David Hume proposed a different view. They suggested that the self was not a single, unchanging entity, but rather a bundle of experiences, memories and perceptions, constantly in flux. And then there were those like Friedrich Nietzsche, who took the idea even further, suggesting that the self was a fiction, a story we tell ourselves to make sense of the world. To Nietzsche, there was no fixed self, only a series of moments, thoughts and sensations that we string together into a narrative. But if the self is not a distinct entity, what then are we? Are we simply the sum of our experiences, the product of our memories? Or are we something more, something beyond the reach of philosophy and reason? Is the self a reality to be understood, or is it an illusion to be dispelled? These questions have no easy answers. They demand that we look beyond the surface, that we delve into the depths of our own minds. They challenge us to step outside of our comfort zones, to question our assumptions and to confront the unknown. So, if philosophers have been debating the existence of the self for centuries, how can we hope to understand it? Let's delve into some of the leading theories about the self. The mystery of the self has intrigued philosophers and scholars for centuries, and various theories have emerged to attempt to unravel this enigma. One of the fascinating theories is the bundle theory proposed by the Scottish philosopher David Hume. According to this theory, the self is seen as a bundle or collection of perceptions. Imagine your mind as a theatre, with each perception being an actor on the stage. There's no single, unchanging entity that's watching the play. Instead, the self is the entire performance, made up of all the actors, the scenery, the plot twists, and the emotions that come with it. The bundle theory suggests that there isn't a stable I, but rather a constantly changing flow of experiences. On the other hand, we have the ego theory, where the self is seen as a persisting entity. This theory is often associated with philosopher John Locke, who believed that personal identity persists over time because of continuity of consciousness. In this view, the self is like a ship that's constantly being repaired and rebuilt over time. Even though every single plank might be replaced at some point, it's still the same ship because it maintains the same form and function. Similarly, our bodies and minds change over time, but we still have a sense of being the same person. These theories offer different perspectives on the self. The bundle theory emphasizes the fluidity and changeability of our experiences, while the ego theory highlights the continuity and consistency of our personal identities. Both theories acknowledge that the self is not something fixed or static, but rather something dynamic and evolving. However, these theories are just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to understanding the self. There are many more theories out there, from the psychological to the spiritual, each offering a unique lens through which to view this fascinating concept. Even with these theories, the self remains a complex and elusive concept. It's a mystery that we might never fully unravel, but that doesn't stop us from trying to understand it better. Now let's delve into the role of consciousness in understanding the self. Consciousness, that unique faculty of the mind to be aware of the world and one's experiences, is a key player in the intriguing drama of self. It's a bit like the director of a play, orchestrating the multitude of thoughts, feelings and experiences that we perceive as us. Let's imagine consciousness as a vast, endless ocean. The waves on the surface represent our thoughts, and the depth beneath symbolizes our subconscious. The self, then, is like a ship sailing on this ocean, navigating the waves and currents of our conscious and subconscious thoughts. Now, what about self-awareness? This is a step beyond consciousness. It's not just being aware, it's being aware that we are aware. It's like the ship on the ocean, not only knowing its position, but also understanding its course, speed, and the nature of the ocean it is sailing on. This self-awareness, or meta-awareness, shapes our perception of the self, giving it definition and context. So, are we merely a construct of our conscious mind? The answer to this question is as complex as the question itself. The self, as we perceive it, is indeed a mental construct, a narrative woven from the threads of our thoughts, feelings, and experiences. But it's more than just a story. It's a dynamic, evolving entity, shaped and reshaped by our interactions with the world and our own introspective journey. On the other hand, the self is also an enigma, a paradox that eludes a definitive understanding. We may never fully unravel the mystery of the self, just as we may never fully chart the depths of the ocean, but the exploration, the journey of self-discovery, is a fascinating and enriching experience in itself. So, consciousness plays a significant role in shaping our understanding of the self, but it is not the whole story. In the modern world, the concept of the self has taken on new dimensions. Technology, particularly social media, has become a canvas for us to paint our identities. We curate our online personas, shaping them with every post, every like, every share. But are these digital identities true reflections of who we are? Or are they separate selves, distinct from our offline selves? We post pictures of our best moments, share thoughts that align with our chosen image, and interact with a world that only sees what we choose to show. This curated self can sometimes feel more real than our offline existence. But it's important to remember these online personas are but a part of us, not the entirety. In the interplay between the online and offline selves, we find the complexity of the modern self. We are both the curator and the curated, the observer and the observed. In the digital age, the concept of the self is more complex than ever before. So what can we conclude about the self? Well, as we've delved into this captivating enigma, we've journeyed through various theories, each proposing its own interpretation of what the self could be. We've explored the intricate relationship between consciousness and the self, and how our modern world shapes and perceives this elusive entity. The self, as we've seen, is a complex and ever-evolving concept, one that is as much a part of us as it is a mystery. It's an entity that seems to be at the core of our being, yet remains elusive and indefinable. And that's the beauty of it. The journey to understand the self is not a destination, but an ongoing exploration, a constant introspection. Remember, the journey of self-discovery is ongoing, so keep asking, who am I? And don't forget to like, share and subscribe for more thought-provoking content.